was for, huh? Show and tell? Look, you'll get over it. All right? They'll send you to BSS. You'll do all that Buddhist I love and revere all sentient beings crap. Then at dark 30, next time you're up, you will drag your weary fried ass out of bed. You will put on your gun and your vest, and you will do it all over again. You know why? Because it's a front row seat to the greatest show on earth.
I always wanted to do a show in Los Angeles, shoot Los Angeles for Los Angeles, and so I had this idea to do a show about the Los Angeles Police Department and make it a study of the human condition of the people who do those jobs.
I put my ass on the line for you. I gave you another shot when no one else would work with you. No one.
I feel like there have been a lot of procedural shows over the last few years, ones that kind of deal specifically with the crime. We wanted to do one about what it's really like to be a police officer, the pressures they undergo, the things they have to do.
You okay, son? You okay, son?
How they maneuver within the department, how they maneuver as cops in the society, and how the city has changed over the years, and how the philosophy of the police departments in dealing with the dynamic of a city like this in this size.
Are we done here, or are we waiting for the National Guard?
And the things that affect them in their private lives. So it's much more of a character-driven show than a procedural show.
Are you stalking me now?
Am I what? Hi, I'm Mia Sanchez. I'm a reporter.
Yeah, well, there's nothing to report here, so take your cameraman and go find some real news.
We were able to discuss the concept with Ann Bitterman, who eventually did the research and kind of got the great character stuff she did in her research, and we put it together, and she wrote a beautiful script.
We really kind of wanted to break the mold a little bit, and I felt that John Wells and Chris would be able to do that.
She did almost 9 months worth of research with our researcher, Reva Mandelbaum, where she rode with police officers, spent a lot of time on the street and in various police officers' lives, hearing what they had to say, listening to how they spoke, what their days were really like. We're trying to capture that feeling.
So I guess it's a suspicious death, right?
No, it's not a suspicious death. This isn't a friggin' Agatha Christie novel. There's accidental death, there's suicide, and then there's homicide. This is homicide. He's going in for murder.
This show is unique because it's Los Angeles. There is no other city in the world like Los Angeles. It's a vast, heavily populated city with a lot going on.
There's a lot of ethnic diversity. There's a lot of preconceptions of what's going on in the police force and what's not going on in the police force.
We really wanted to show it, let people see it for what it is now and the pressures and the kind of changes and things that police officers here have to deal with that they don't have to deal with anywhere else in the country.
You became an actor? Not an actor. I'm being punked, right?
LA is very unique in itself because, one, we have the beautiful weather, and we have areas that you walk into a neighborhood and you're in a bad neighborhood and you don't even know it. It's Chris and John's idea, and Ann, the writer, to capture all of that. Ann has really submerged herself into LA culture.
This thing's a class 3. How the hell did you get a permit for this?
I didn't. A props guy. Hey, man. Props guy. He hooked me up. He converted it from a semi to full auto.
Once John and Chris called me and said they wanted to do kind of an old-fashioned cop show, they had decided at that point that they wanted to set it in L.A.
Well, let's face it, we have a colorful past, we have a colorful present. Our streets are not the safest streets around. It's really a very interesting city.
We spent a lot of time talking about whether or not we wanted to shoot the show on a soundstage or out on the street, and we decided that there was no real way to show the city and the way that the police officers actually have to deal with the city if we weren't out on the street.
Whoa, 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 stop! Down! Face down, arms at your side, now!
There's no way we were going to shoot these scenes on the back lot at Warner Brothers. As fine as the back lot as that is, I mean, you really want to be on the streets, so you have kind of these found items. You have a great house, you have a great street, and you're kind of not art directing.
You gotta be kidding me. Light them up.
We want to be real and true to what the street really is, basically. I think the advantage that I have over other people is that basically I'm a local, like Chris is, so we know a lot of what we can find and where to find it really quickly.
I mean, this sounds like so cliche, but it really lends a sense of reality to the whole thing. Dogs are barking, people are yelling, there's, you know, sirens and helicopters that are just happening by, and there's no, like, hold for sound, you know what I mean? It's like, that's what it is.
So look, we're gonna hand you over our suspect. We gotta stay here and deal with this.
Fine.
Was Dewey just in the back seat with him?
Don't ask.
You know, you turn kind of a liability into a virtue, and you ask the actors to kind of just play the environment. If we're shooting on the street and a big bus goes by, you got to talk louder, you know, and that will infuse the show with kind of a reality and a grittiness that I think that a lot of shows don't have. And I think that people are so used to watching reality television now, they get it.
It's the guys that beat you. The great thing about shooting on location is that you are affected by the environment that you're in.
It gives us as actors an opportunity to see parts of LA that we wouldn't normally get to experience.
Liquor store. Glass is blown out.
Most people's depiction of what Los Angeles is Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Strip, the beach, entertainment. They don't realize that there's all these other urban areas that exist right next to these main areas.
Welcome to California Penal Code Section 408, participating in an unlawful assembly.
The hell are you talking about, homie? You're just trying to get some damn food to eat.
LA is very self-segregated. You live where you live and you drive to work, but other than spending time driving by places, you're not actually seeing them up close.
Hey, sit down before you take a tumble.
Forget it.
He's gonna fall.
They never fall. See, would you put him back wherever he came from?
Chris is telling me that he wants it to be real. I said, well, I'll give you real if that's really what you want. We had to find an alley where a body is found. And I had a great one that we had scouted that was just up the street from the Watts Towers. You know, there are gangs in the neighborhood. We do advanced work in talking to the gangs to let them know what we're doing and make sure there's no problems, and we were able to pull it off. And he had a great reveal. Once he came out of the alley, turned the camera, and there's the Watts Towers.
No, where is my daughter? Where? Miss Davis, I'm Detective Adams. I can only imagine how upsetting this is for you. Okay, we're doing everything that we can to find Kayla. Sometimes kids just wander off.
We're trying with this show to do a style with it, a documentary style that will feel much realer than what you're used to seeing. So we're trying to find a way in which to shoot it with a new camera that we're using called the Red camera that will make you feel much more like you're really on the street with them and have a sense that you're kind of peering over their shoulder. Part of what we try to do is to gather the intensity of actually when you're being a police officer into the shooting style of the show. So the problem is, if it takes you a very long time in between each shot, that energy or adrenaline that comes is very difficult to maintain. So we're trying to shoot the show very quickly so that the actors feel that same adrenaline that the police officers do when they're out on the job all the time. We're shooting sort of guerrilla style where we'll have a permit to shoot, but we won't really be doing any art decoration or anything. We'll just shoot it as is and go in there with a handheld camera and just sort of see what happens.
You gotta go, man.
Sorry. What?
I think for actors it's great because it frees you up to not be so concerned about being here on this particular spot, turn your head this way, you know, worrying about your eye light and this and that. It kind of frees you up to just sort of cut loose and involve yourself in the scene work itself.
Look, we're gonna handle this for you, all right?
The other car was a yellow Mitsubishi Eclipse, recent.
Seriously, you probably have a concussion.
I'm fine!
Again, I want to feel like it's spontaneous, but we want to have a real quality to it.
Let's just do it, all right? Let's do the whole 9 yards. Let's just do the breathalyzer.
Sal,
Let's just get
if
it
you
over
have
with.
any alcohol, any at all, even .001, this ain't gonna go right.
We're trying to really show the city and the way the police officers have to work in the city very realistically.
Hey, baby! Show me your tits!
It's not your glossed up version of police life. Some of the language, it's a little more real, a little more honest, a little more genuine.
Get out. What are you gonna do? Pull your
Get the fuck out!
What?
Oh, my God! Oh,
I mean, this is what they do. This is how they talk. This is what they see. I think that's really what we're trying to get to the audience.
Get the fuck back! Get her out of here,
The reality of police work, bad guys and police officers do say bad words occasionally. There's a lot of times when you say it and you wish you hadn't.
I look like a faggot to you?
What's a faggot look like?
You fucking with me?
Kinda.
I think it's okay for us to be real in terms of everything, the way we're shooting it, how we're acting it, the lines, the works, how it's written and whatnot. I think it will be gritty. It should be. I mean, it's L.A.
You, outside now! Go! All right, go! All right, Metro Jordan, go now! Shut up! Shut up!
Down. Stay down.
You and I, we don't really see what they really do out there in the streets. We've been doing a lot of ride-alongs with a lot of the police officers out here and detectives and whatnot. It's pretty hectic.
Light him up!
Your perception of what actually a police officer goes through in their day-to-day life is changed dramatically when you see what they go through in a single day and the different types of the highs and lows of their day. It's pretty amazing.
They get so many calls in one night, and it's something so big, and then it's left unsolved, and they immediately get another call, and they have to rush off for another thing.
It varies a lot depending on what division you're in. Some of the tougher divisions are really tough. You know, these guys are doing very challenging work, day in and day out. It's pretty impressive. You're immediately struck with how noble that is. Everybody that I came in contact with really wanted to improve the community, wanted to do a good job.
Any available unit. Neighbors have reported a bad smell coming from 322 Wilcox, Apartment A.
Patrolmen, when they get in their car, their heart rate goes up, and it's up all day, and you just can't, you don't turn that stuff off.
It's hard to come home and have a conversation with your wife and your children about what you did at work when what you did at work that day was to clean up the mess of somebody being shot.
The divorce rate is very high, staggeringly high. In the script, we referred to a first marriage as a starter marriage, and that's fairly accurate. We're trying some things that are challenging in terms of this, even in terms of casting. You know, we wanted real faces. I really wasn't interested in, like, young, hot people with stubble. I really kind of wanted this to feel real.
And background, action!
Look sharp, act sharp, be sharp. These guys coming out of prison, they're buff and on drugs. You do what they teach you in the academy, you will die. Knucklehead wants to take your gun. You take his ass down any way you can. You ride with me, you back your badge.
Let's start with Ben. Now he's in phase 3, which means that he has been out of the academy for 6 months. He's moved into phase 3 of his probationary time.
He clearly is capable of being a good cop. He just hasn't had experience out in the field. So that's a lot of what John, his training officer, is giving him, is that real-world experience that Ben lacks.
Got caught up in the John Wayne syndrome. You lost your position of advantage. Yes, sir.
John?
You
John!
just gotta focus.
Stop the car!
Next up the food chain really would probably be Chickie's character, because she's what's called a P3, which is a training officer.
Chickie's kind of a strong, silent type, you know, if a woman could be that for once. And there's something really extra strong about the silence that she has.
She is in a position where she could train someone like Ben, but for the last, I think it's 5 years, she's been stuck with Dewey.
And I think she lets Dewey do his thing because she knows it's important to him. And she sees through it. She sees there's more to it than that because she's a woman.
If this is the way you do police work, I want a new partner.
The next step up would be obviously John Cooper, who is what we refer to as a P3 plus 1. He's a training officer, but he's also a senior lead officer.
The show takes place where I have my rookie. He's starting his first day. Now I have this routine that I go through where basically I'm going to try to break this guy or this gal or whoever it is. I really don't care. I don't want to get to know this person because they might not be here tomorrow.
Next up the chain would probably be Nate and Sammy. They're D1s, which is a detective rank.
I don't feel comfortable with what we're doing. So. This guy's pretty straightforward, a family man, you know, and happens to be a really great detective with a great partner.
What the hell's that supposed to mean? We're doing our job.
You have your beat cops, you have your detectives, and sort of, I play one of the detectives in the Southeast Division's gang unit. Look at this place. Low-life dealer sues us and wins. Up is down, I'm telling you.
Now, on the other front, we've got Lydia, who's a D2. She's been doing detective work for a long time, and she likes doing it right.
I've been meeting a lot of cops along the way, you know, through this journey. I would say Lydia is probably a cop that is more on the compassionate side.
did you do that for us? My only girl.
From there, we'll go to her partner, Tom Everett Scott.
The job, I think, is affecting him in a way where he's not sure of the boundaries of his position when it comes to relationships with women.
Now we've got Sal, who's a D3, who is a supervisory position for detectives. So he oversees all the detectives within this gang unit at this point.
Tell you what, it's good association one is to smoke every one of them punks out of their rat holes.
I see this character as someone who is in this position, this job, mainly because of the money. It's a better pay, but in reality, I think he's a street cop. So I think there's that dichotomy of being stuck in the office, but yearning to get outside where all the action is.
Where is everybody?
They're laying low. We'll find them. Just keep looking, all right?
All right.
The fact that I had a 15-year-old daughter drew me to it because I have a 15-year-old daughter.
No, there was a time when you used to love working side by side by the old grill master.
Stop embarrassing yourself.
It's that whole thing. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? You know, you write a character, an actor comes and embodies that character, and so it's kind of give and take. Ann did a great job in writing them, and now they're bringing them to life, and there are a few surprises.
Every once in a while, you get to take a bag out of the streets for good. And that, my friend, is God's work.
I think one of the things that I wanted to do with this was to not do a forensic show. I was really interested in the people and in their lives, so that meant both parts of their lives.
I told you not to do that. We are not insured for that. We could be sued now. Are you fucking nuts, Tammy? Seeing both sides of it, their work lives and their home lives, we're not necessarily seeing on television.
More sort of expansive than your typical cop show.
My old man's a bigger asshole than that. In prison. He raped and murdered someone.
You'll feel, I think, the rhythm of the show will feel very different from other police shows you've watched.
I think people are fascinated by the dark side of human nature and people making mistakes and people getting in trouble.
It's very unique in a lot of different ways. It's not going to be another, body of the week type show.
Each one of these rape kits represents a rapist who could still be out there.
We were promised funding to outsource it. Never came through.
This is so wrong. It's really about the police officers and them being real people and having their real stuff.
I just want to say that there hasn't been a day that's gone by, drunk, sober, that I hadn't loved this job. I love this job. I love you guys.
My idea was to be with the detectives, with the patrol people, and kind of tell the stories and tell their experience from the cops' eye level and the cops' point of view.
All units, I have a code 2 call for unknown trouble at Fletcher and 136th Street.
Unknown troubles can be funky.
15A85, show us responding, code 2 to Fletcher and 136th Street.